The three biggest health mistakes people make. Hey, it's Zane Truscott for Rock Solid Wellness, where my mission is to help you to think well, eat well, move well, and live well. Here I want to share with you the three biggest mistakes people make when it comes to sustainable health and vitality and wellness, and what to do about it. Now, I feel like I'm qualified to present these three mistakes because for nearly 15 years, I've been very involved with running live self-care workshops for people from all walks of life, working with world-class experts, and our audiences have always consisted of people who are in search of better health. So through that process and being at the coalface, I've really got to understand some of the biggest challenges and mistakes that people make in their search and quest for a more responsible approach to health and wellness. And when you're in that environment and you get to meet so many different people, the one thing that stays constant, even though everybody's situation is different, are the patterns that you tend to notice. And I love the fact that health consciousness is really something that is growing more and more. You know, we've come full circle with our approach to life. People are recognizing that wellness is the number one thing that we all have, and it doesn't matter what material successes we achieve. If it comes at the cost of our physical or emotional well-being, ultimately we have nothing. So health and well-being really is number one when we move away all of the chatter and the noise and the layers to it, and we get back to the very core and the essence of it. So what are the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to health and wellness? Mistake number one is looking constantly outside for answers. You know, as a society, we've really had it drummed into us, into our psyche for the longest time, that it takes a credentialed health professional to manage our health. We've grown up to trust in the medical system, to trust in our family doctor, and that's fine to a point, but the problem is that most solutions provided, they're only band-aid fixes or short-term measures that never get to the true source of where health and wellness really does come from. You see, wellness is an inside job. That's why self-care is so important, and it's why, you know, my wife and I have been really promoting this message so rigorously for so many years with people like Don Tolman. Self-care is everything. Learning to trust your gut, to be intuitive in your approach to diet, movement, what you put in and on your body. Health and longevity requires an empowered lifestyle approach where you're in charge. And it's this kind of approach that will allow you to build robust health and vitality without the need for intervention over the long term. Mistake number two is listening to too many different experts. You know, today we live in the best of times and also the worst of times when it comes to accessing information. And in no other area is this more pronounced than when it comes to looking for answers to health and wellness. We're in the best of times because we have the answers to everything at our fingertips online. You can find the answer to just about anything you're looking for. You can find any kind of solution to diet, ailment, but at the same time, it's the worst of times because there's no real common thread to anything. And it doesn't matter how credentialed the person is that you're listening to. If you go and do a separate search and you look for somebody else on the exact same topic, they'll have a totally different take and all the reasons why their take is a better one for you to follow. So what I've discovered is that there really are too many experts with conflicting messages and opinions, and that really fragments our ability to make the right decisions, and that does not serve our long-term mental and physical wellness, in my opinion. Why? Because it creates confusion and overwhelm. And when we're confused and we're overwhelmed, we're not clear. Now, if you take the area of diet, for example, you know, we have raw food, we have paleo, we have vegetarian, we have keto. There are all these different themes and diets and messages in relation to just this one area of diet. And every expert will give you a compelling reason as to why their particular modality makes most sense. But does that necessarily mean that that particular path is right for you? You see, I'm a great believer that there is never a one-size-fits-all approach to anything. We need to have this capacity to as I said in mistake number 1, we need to return to our ability to be intuitive, to trust our gut, to try things on, to see how they fit for us. And too many people, they allow themselves to be pigeonholed down a certain path, and they've lost touch with that intuitive sense as to whether or not this path is right for me. Just because something makes sense for a particular individual or a particular belief system doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you over the long term. Which brings me to mistake number 3. So not only is choosing the right path a challenge when we have access to so much conflicting information, but the real third mistake that people make is staying the course. And this really gets down to consistency and really being in the game long enough to get the result that you're looking for. So this mistake is really the result of the first 2 mistakes. So we don't stay the course typically because we're always moving from pillar to post, looking outside for answers because there's so much conflicting information. Over time, we become extra overwhelmed, everything becomes fragmented, everything gets too hard, and we quit, we give up. So what's the answer to all of this? Number 1, consciousness. Raising your wellness awareness. Learning about the fundamental drivers of health and vitality and having these foremost in your mind. Returning to the 7 principles of health: air, water, sunshine, walking, whole foods, non-toxic relationships, and passion. Fundamental drivers of health and vitality over the long term. And then using that as a base and adding layers to it from there. How you shop, where your food is sourced from, how long it's been in transportation, storage, what foods you eat together, what foods you eat at certain times of the year that are in season and that aren't. All of that is to do with consciousness. Secondly, intuition. Learning to trust your gut for what makes sense. Your intuitive sense of what's right is probably right. But this is something we have been trained to no longer trust. So we need to get back to understanding that what we feel makes sense is usually what makes sense. So consciousness, intuition. Thirdly, simplicity. Keeping things logical and simple when it comes to your approach to things like nutrition, movement, and lifestyle. Complexity is the enemy of execution. The more complex things are, the more difficult it is for you to stay the course. So the third mistake people make is moving away from that simplicity. So we need to get back to that. And the fourth and final recommendation is consistency. You see, consistency is the secret to success in anything, and your health and wellness is no different. Yet most people fail because they don't stick at anything for long enough to build momentum. And momentum is really the holy grail that we're looking for, because when we have momentum, we're doing things subconsciously without any conscious thought. The goals that we have and the reasons we have for doing certain things, we're being magnetically pulled towards without much effort because they're really important to us. They're part of our value system, and that's where momentum comes from. That's how things become second nature and ingrained into our identity, and that's when we see the results that we're looking for. So what's the main takeaway from today? If physical, mental, and emotional wellness is one of your highest values, but you're not experiencing a high level of those right now, it's probably because you're making one of the 3 mistakes I've shared with you. Number 1, you're either looking outside for answers consistently, too much. Number 2, you're listening to too many experts. Or number 3, you're not staying the course. You don't need an expert to tell you what you need to fix. In fact, chances are you don't even need fixing. What you need is to remember that you have the answers inside of you when you choose consciousness and when you choose to live at a higher level of vibration. Hey, it's Zane here, and thanks for listening. If you received value from today's episode and you'd like to see how I can help you at an even deeper level, I invite you to check out my Rock Solid Wellness online course and coaching programs. It's all about helping you to break through any limitations you may have and building strong, robust mind and body habits that put you in control. My at-home video course is a pre-recorded module training where we focus on boosting your mindset, nutrition, movement, and lifestyle. And if you'd like to work with me even more closely, I also offer group and private coaching to help you integrate the rock solid steps into your own life. To learn more about my online course or coaching programs, go to zanetruscott.com. Again, thank you for listening, and I look forward to serving you on your journey to rock solid wellness. Hey, thanks for listening to Rock Solid Wellness. If you got value from this episode, feel free to leave me a comment or review on your favorite podcast platform. I also appreciate any constructive feedback or topic suggestions so that I can keep improving and serve you best. Keep in mind that the content of this episode is for informational and inspirational purposes only and is not intended to replace any advice given to you by your doctor or healthcare professional. I do recommend that you consult your personal physician before acting on any of the information contained in this episode to determine its suitability for you. This is Zane Truscott signing out. Again, thanks for listening, and until next time, stay strong and live well.